nice with this timber look. It's a bit grubby because I've had it loaded to the hilt with insulation a couple of times. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it though. The floor checker plate, it's nice and solid. You know, it looks fine. They don't need to clean. The curtains, it's got a light up in the back that doesn't work. It's something I'll have to figure out eventually. There is a switch under the box, but that still doesn't work, so I'm not sure what's going on there. But you can see too, if you're with the curtains, obviously the stitching and the way that they've put this together is all designed around having a single WOTC at the back. And I'll just hop down. It's like having these here. Look, and honestly, I've never used them before. You know, I'm not even a big fan of taut liners, to be honest. I'm just as happy with a tarp and a few ropes. But look, the other taut liner I've had, and I've had a few now, you know, driving for people, and I like the old style straps. I've got to admit, like this having one single one in the middle makes it crazy easy to access the side. It's just, you know, you don't even have to undo it. It's just open up the front, lift the post, and you got access to your first couple of pallet spaces, and that makes it amazingly quickly. The problem I have though is those clamps. They are just a shit design, in my opinion. Like, the fact that can come undone, and does, at random, you know, it can be good for 4 days, and then it'll just come undone. So I've adjusted the spring out, in, up, down, whatever, and for some reason, this one on this side in particular is just doesn't like to remain closed. So you can just be driving along and just randomly have a look in the back and see it sort of hanging down, and that annoys me. I did do a 20-second review on that when it did it to me one day in Lismore. Language was a little bit loose, but anyway, that was my honest opinion at that time. But yeah, look, I like the body. You know, I think honestly it'd be better off if we had another handle, you know, another thing up the front here, another one down the back. Having 3 on there wouldn't hurt. Having one in the middle, you know, especially if you get winds and that, it's like a bloody, you know, it's like a bit of a balloon. You know, if I've got all the gates in, obviously it stops the wind from pushing in on one side. It seems to minimize the blowing out, but you know, I don't want to be carrying gates all the time, moving them all the time. It's a bit of a pain for me. But yeah, it's got the nose cone on it. The height difference with this is such that I don't know if it, you know, certainly would make a difference. I'm not sure whether this would be any benefit with a party hat or something. Certainly the amount of wind and air that hits like the front here and across the top, gets down between the cab and the box, has got to be a big contributor to the you know, the fuel economy. And for me, fuel economy is fuel's the biggest cost, so I'm always trying to figure out a way to improve it. But at the same time, it's a bit like the fuel tank. You know, do you spend a few $1,000s on a fuel tank, or, you know, do you put up with it and just stop and fuel a little bit more often? At this stage, I'm just fueling up a little bit more often. But yeah, look, the box is good though. It's a good height. You know, it seems to be pretty well made. It's pretty solid. That light doesn't work, which is annoying. I'm a little bit anal on trying to look after it, so I've actually been to Clark Rubber and got sections of rubber and then wrapped around the rail, and then taped it up. And I've done that on the 4 points where I like to hang the straps when they're not in use. And look, I know I can, you know, hang them on the back of the rail and all that sort of thing, but I don't think that they're really that strong there either. But yeah, so far really happy with the box. I really like having that little extra thing there. That was I think that cost me another 2.5 or 3 grand or something to put that in, but it's already paid for itself, I think, in the fact that the bulk work, and it gives me access to the back of the box with pallets that are at least 2.36 high. And at the end of the day, honestly, I bought this truck, I bought the whole thing more based on the box and the tail lift, because at the end of the day, that's the bit that makes money. You know, the bloke behind the wheel, yeah, look, it's nice to have the bigger cab. It's just been a bonus to have a truck that actually goes as well as this thing does, with the amount of space that it's got, you know. And aside from those couple of niggly things, which, you know, in the big scheme of things aren't really majors, it's, for me, it's pretty much the perfect combination. You know, you could jump up and say, well, you know, maybe I should go to, this is a 5.1 metre box, 2.4 high internal, you know, holds about 29 cubic metres. It tears out this combination at, what does it tear out? About 3.94 tonnes, so I can only take 3.5 tonne. You know, there's a fair bit of weight in the tail lift and all of that sort of thing. I did add the bull bar, which was another 3.6, I think, something like that. But it gives me a little bit more confidence when I'm dealing with traffic. I'm only kidding. A bit more confidence when I'm out in the country, you know, with the wildlife, especially, you know, out west, you know, with roos and so on. Not that I'm sure that'd capture too many roos. I think most of them probably go through the windscreen, but it makes me feel better, so that's the main thing. But yeah, overall super happy with it. You know, it's really now, once I get those few little things sorted over time, like the radio, the fuel tank, get the windows tinted, a bit of sign writing, that's all I really want to do. But yeah, it's already in extra work. It's already made the payment for the first month, so I'm pretty happy about that. It's exceeding my expectations. So yeah, if anyone's got any questions on the box at least, or the truck or the tail lift, feel free to yell out. I'm honestly pretty green with tail lifts. I had an Antio one before, the Undertuck, and I bought that second hand. This one, I didn't give them a brand. I just said, this is what I want. It needs to be able to carry 1.5 tonne, and I don't want the doors on the back of the cab, on the back of the box. And this is what they give me, and I've got to say, I'm crazy impressed. If I can work out how to do it, I'll put details in the description or up on the screen or something clever, with a bit more detail. But yeah, that's it. Once I get a few more miles on it, I'll try and give another update and see where we go from there. I'll see if I can maybe even borrow this person's car, stick the camera on. You might even be able to see this in action. No. Probably do another step. That's it. Pretty clever.